until there's only skin on my body. But I want we just can't. Damn, I got it bad. I didn't see it coming. We haven't done like a talking video. Obviously every single fucking video of mine is just me like yapping, but not like a sit down, here's a topic, let's just talk. And that's because I hate to edit it, because I have to try and like make it funny with like zooming in or like cuts, and like I'm not it's too much work, but I'll do it anyways. Before I start, I first of all look amazing. In my depression era, which lasted about like 7 years, I still obsess over now sitcoms. I rewatch them constantly. Now I'm rewatching Parks and Rec for like the 3rd time. I compare how my life is going according to sitcoms. So I see my life in seasons, I see my life in main characters, I see my life in tropes and like comedy situations, I think. So I have grouped my YouTube videos into seasons if you go onto playlists on my account. And this is the start of season 3. I just go according to vibes. The end of season 2 was intense. It was dramatic, and like I guess my way of coping, I guess, is to say, okay, it's time for a new season. That was a season finale. The point of this video is talking about books. I do post about them on my Instagram stories, but I want to get in depth. I want to, like, what's the point of reading a book if you can't shut the fuck up about it? Conversations with friends. I watched Normal People and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was done so beautifully. I need to rewatch Normal People. Put in that edit. I was given the impression that it was going to be plotless, and by plotless I mean like Anna Karenina. Conversation with People has a storyline, it has a plot, and it has drama, it is a page turner. Like I thought I was just gonna like pick it up and go read until I don't want to read anymore, because I love a plot driven book. Like I don't like vibing. I need a story, I need drama, like, you know. But I really wanted to see what Sally Rooney was all about, and that book was interesting as shit. It was so good. It was, I wish I'm about to do a book review thing and I don't have the mental capacity to review a book. But people complain that she didn't have quotation marks, and I just thought that she skipped it out. But the way that she writes is that it doesn't require quotation marks. And it's like girly, and it's not that difficult. Like I cannot explain to you, I am not an academic girly, I'm not a smart girly. I don't have. The book was very easy to read. It was maybe like once or twice I had to go back and see who said what, but it flows really easily. I thought I was gonna have difficulty like imagining it, because like the dialogue was gonna be so hard to like decipher. I saw myself a lot in Nick. He's very insecure and hates himself. He's an actor. I'm kind of well known. Unexpectedly insecure about myself, and I saw myself a lot in him. I actually enjoyed all of the characters. They're all written so humanely. The interactions between them is so subtle, but it's so heavy. I'd recommend reading it. It's so good. They're very humane and relatable if you're a little fucked up. Red, white, and royal blue. I googled enemies to lovers book and this came up, and then I just bought it. I would have liked a little bit more enemies. I want enemies so bad. I want enemies for like 90% of the book, and then 10% is just them fucking. I did enjoy a little bit of enemies, but that is not why I liked the book. I loved it because it was so funny. You don't get recommended like books for their humor. It was Gen Z funny. It was a new type of humor that is not like cringy book humor, if you know what I mean. It's written so specifically for books as well. It was taking advantage of the fact that it is a book to make it funny with the resources that you have when writing compared to with shows and movies. I love the romance. They were very comfort people. There was very little drama. It was just like one big fluffy hug. There was a little bit of drama, a little bit of issues with the characters, but compared to like other books, it was just good and comforting. There was this really lovely scene where they're all singing karaoke, and if you just watch the movie, do read the book. There are more characters. We get more, there's different characters as well. It's just like a nice December read as well. You can pick it up and put it down anywhere, but it is once again not flat. It's got a lot of depth to it. It's got a lot of humor. I love the romance between them. It's so cutie. Yeah, there's just good romance between them as well. It's not just like expected and one-dimensional. There's such cute little moments and I love them so much. A lot of people said the smut was like a lot. It was not for me. The Wattpad books that I was reading at 15, does not compare. There is some sex scenes, but it's not intimate. But it's not like I wanted more. I expected more. In the movie, however, it's more intimate than in the books, which is very interesting. But probably one of my favorite books. It's so good. Daisy Jones 6 you can just pick up anywhere. I read it in the airport. I read it driving while music was playing and stuff like that. It's not too complicated. If you don't know what Daisy Jones and the Six is, the book is written like a script, but it is an interview. So like in the script format, and it is an interview, so there's only speech. And I was like, oh, that's gonna be really difficult to imagine. Taylor writes it so well that you can't imagine the setup, the dialogue, how things go, and the way that it flows very beautifully. I don't know how her mind even got to like doing that, because like obviously in a show and a movie that can be done very well, but in writing, like why would you do that to yourself? And then she did it, and she did it beautifully. The characters, I love them. It's also another good comfort book. It also got turned into a show, an Amazon show, and it also has a different ending and a little bit less of Simone in the book, which that I liked about the show, because the show and the book, it's very white and straight. It's in the 70s, it's white straight people doing drugs and having sex and singing. The thing with me is like, if you want me to care about white people, make them gay or write it really, really well. That's what Taylor did with Daisy Jones and the Six. It has some humor here and there. Like, I would never get back to someone who cheated, but there was this, and I still never will, like, you know, but there was this beautiful explanation for one of the characters, which I hated that they didn't put in the show. In the show, it made one of the characters just says like 2 lines, but in the book it's just this beautiful explanation about love and commitment and forgiveness. Characters are written so well and so complex. There's no villain and no good guy. It's just, actually there is a villain. Daisy's husband. Like, the main characters will fuck up. They're just human, and it's really comforting. I highly recommend it. It's really good. It's really easy. I fall in love with the characters. I miss the characters, actually. I need to reread it as well. I read The Bell Jar. I got it for Christmas. Why would someone do that to me? I loved it. It was beautiful. I had no idea what it was going in. It was amazing. Yes. I'm not gonna explain to you why Sylvia Plath books are phenomenal. It will, if you are the tiniest bit in a depression era, the tiniest bit, don't read this. It definitely could have triggered me if I read it a year or so before. I didn't know what it was before I read it. I thought it was just like girlies having fun. I thought it was just like a girlie. She was being an influencer. She's having fun. Girl, it's Sylvia Plath. Like, what did you think was gonna... It's heavy. It's very, 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 very heavy, but it's beautiful. Twisted. Ah! Ugh! I used to read a lot of Wattpad as a teenager, and I obviously stopped. I grew up, and I thought the only way to get that type of romance was through rom-coms and stuff. And then I discovered that like books are shitty too. Thanks to Colleen Hoover, I found out that books can be shitty too. I fell into reading because I was horny and alone. The Twisted series is, each book is a different trope. Once again, like I said, I love enemies to lovers, so I was very excited for Twisted Hate. We'll get to that. Twisted Love, I don't love like just like serious billionaire guy. I love a goofy sitcom golden retriever guy that's obsessed with me. It's not a book talk book that's solely about their romance. It's about like their past, and there's this trauma, and she's traumatized, and there's this huge twist, and it's very unlike Daisy Jones and the Six, Conversation with People. There's a clear villain and there's a clear hero, and the villain, it's so cringy, unrealistic. Probably be like a CW show. It was giving Riverdale. There's this one sex scene, he comes on the inside of her thighs, and then he tells her to walk out with that's assault! He comes on her and he makes her leave with the dry cum on her. Why would you want that? I'm not gonna king shame, but what the fuck? This bonus scene, they do it outside, like in the dirt, and she's on her knees in like outside on the ground. Nothing. No man. No man. No man. It's very clear that Anna Wong has like this thing for a sort of like degrading, which once again isn't bad, but it's not what I want. I want to be worshipped. I'm not gonna get on my knees. I'm not gonna walk around with your cum on me. In comparison to how fucked up and gross and nasty Twisted Love is, Twisted Games was just not as bad. It wasn't good, it just wasn't as bad, and I think people kind of got that confused. Twisted Games was a little bit better, but he's like this dirty god. She's a princess. Like, why did I read this? My brother is next in line. He says, nah, I want this normal bitch to be my wife. And she's like, fuck. Now she's the queen. Rule that you can't marry like non-royalty. Why the fuck did I read this book? It had good smut and it had good cute romance. Like, I would read anything, and it didn't have that. was very much into the fact that she was this princess. You know, she's a princess. She's well known. Everyone respects her. But when he has sex with her, she's his bitch. He can do all these disgusting things to her. There's so many points in his pub where he's like, oh yeah, I can't believe the princess is doing this to this. I'm doing this to the princess. And it's like, that's not a thing for me. I don't want to be degraded. I want to be worshipped right now and in bed. I think that's the iconic scene for that thing where she crawls to him. No! Like, no! I'm not crawling to you. I'm the fucking princess. I'm not crawling to you. I don't care if I'm not the princess. I'm not crawling to you. I would want a man to crawl to me though. Like, I get him for wanting that, but I don't get her for doing that. And Karenina, I watched this YouTuber and she had it on her shelf, so I bought it. That book was so bad. I was like, I actually need to go back and reread the classics. Like, I need to... That can't be literature for me. That can't be a book that I read. Like, I was reading a lot of book club books and I was like, this is easy. Like, why did I think books were so hard? So I was like, let's try the classics. Like, why not? I have the time, I have the money, I have the time. Whoa, do I have the time? A lot of reading. It wasn't very difficult. I think in the beginning, like, your brain has to adjust to the writing style. I did enjoy the book. The book was interesting. I don't regret it. It was, like I said, it's just vibes. It's just kind of people doing things, a lot of different people doing things. I didn't care about, there's two protagonists. I didn't care about the guy, and he's half the book. So I was just like, ugh. There's beautiful imagery. Like, he does it very well where he describes the place, but it's not overwhelming. And so I'm like, okay, I get it. I know they're in the forest. Like, I get it. But it's just like, it's enough. There is this random scene where he like does physical labor and he has this interaction with one of the workers. Just to read that, I think would change your life. It's just so beautiful. He's such a great writer. I wanted like a little bit more romance, a little bit of intimacy between them, but maybe that wasn't the point of the book. If you want to get into the classics, maybe don't start there, but maybe that could be like your third. And I definitely think in your lifetime you should read it. Icebreaker! This is what I meant when I wanted a book talk romance book. I literally googled, like how I googled enemies to lovers for Red, White and Royal Blue. I googled golden retriever book. And the smart. Oh! I was clutching my necklace. And after like Twisted, I kind of took a break. Twisted and It Ends With Us. Like, it was giving smart, but I did not want it. I felt like I was being assaulted. But in Icebreaker, their first interaction is he just goes down on her. It's based a lot on her pleasure. It's not as good as Red, White and Royal Blue, Daisy Jones and the Six, Conversations with Friends. It's a good pick-up comfort book that ticks off the boxes. I don't really care about like the ice skating aesthetic. Like I said, I just wanted it for the smut. Cause I started reading for the smut. I'm ready freaking Anna Karenina. Like, give me the smut. Give it to me. They acknowledge the clit. It's not just like him jamming into her. It's not rough. It's very sensual and romantic. There is like, he's once again obsessed with her. It's cute. It's comforting. It's like a Netflix movie. You know, it's not... It has like a found family situation. There are other characters. It is very straight and very white. There is an Indian character who is Pan. Honey and Issues Guide to Fake Dating. This also kind of just fills in the whole where it's like, we need South Asian rep. We need queer South Asian rep. And then she's like, okay, here. And then I picked it up and I was like, this is garbage. I feel like the book was written for white people to explain what brown people are, because it's like, I know all of this. Like, why are you telling me something that I already know? I'm not Bengali. There's very, very, very little romance. It felt platonic more than romantic. I didn't feel any attraction between the two. And I'm not saying it had to be smutty or sexual. It dealt a lot with just so many other issues. It was just a lot. It was just so many fucking issues. It was just like racism, lesbophobia, biphobia. Why would I read a book about a girlie who's like me experiencing biphobia?